Hi, Shadetree kids. I hope things are going well for you. Things are pretty good over here. We're enjoying the fall and we've been getting outside a lot, spending time doing school. I hope you're doing the same. This week, we're going to talk about a really special individual in our history. And I hope that after we do the lesson today, that you're able to read a little bit more about her with your grown-ups. But let's start first with our affirmation for the week. Our affirmation is, I find within myself the power to do what's right, which is a pretty powerful thought, that there are things within us that help us make the right decisions. That's kind of like a superpower. Okay, so there's a quote from Harriet Tubman that says, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Here we go. In the year 1820, almost all Black people in the United States were enslaved. Enslaved people had no rights. They were owned by another person and had no choices about their lives. Harriet Tubman was born to parents who were enslaved, and that meant Harriet was an enslaved person too. Harriet's mother and father could not protect her from the cruelties of slavery, and she was forced to work hard from a very young age. She took care of babies and did work in the master's house and out in the fields. Even as a little child, she was sent out in the winter to check muskrat traps. Muskrats are large rodents that live in underwater dens and were trapped for their fur. So she had to walk waist deep into freezing cold water to retrieve the dead muskrats. Can you imagine? Although she never learned to read or write, she was smart and was always listening, watching, and learning. She was never an enslaved person in her heart and never accepted that she was unworthy because she was Black or because she was a girl. She learned to pad herself with extra clothing for protection during frequent beatings. That means that sometimes her masters would hurt her. When Harriet was about 11 years old, she boldly refused an order from a white man to help stop his runaway slave. Instead, she stood back and let the enslaved man run by her. The man angrily threw a heavy metal weight after the runaway, and it hit Harriet in the head. The weight broke Harriet's skull and almost killed her. Unfortunately, this kind of cruelty to enslaved people was not uncommon, and Harriet wasn't even given medical care. She wasn't even allowed to see a doctor. She recovered, but she suffered for the rest of her life with pain, seizures, and blackouts because of what happened. She couldn't read, but she was told stories from the Bible, and Harriet had a deep inner life of prayer. She liked to pray a lot. She always tried to follow the guidance she felt from God, and everyone who knew her said she showed amazing inner strength and appeared to be fearless. After years of struggle and thinking about being free, she heard she was to be sold and taken further south where freedom would be impossible to find. She prayed and planned an escape. She took 2 of her brothers with her, but her brothers turned back. It was too frightening to be out in the dark woods, possibly getting lost, shot, or captured. Harriet didn't want to give up, but she went back with them. Then Harriet prayed and planned again. She wouldn't let anything stop her. The second time she went alone, traveling almost 100 miles to Pennsylvania, where enslaved people were free. She could have stayed in Pennsylvania and had a safe life, but Harriet felt she had to help others escape out of slavery. So instead of staying, she went back to the South and led others to freedom. She could have been caught or killed or sold or taken far away, but she went anyway. Harriet made 19 dangerous trips to the South and brought many of her family and friends and even strangers to a new life where they were no longer enslaved. Harriet used all her courage and willpower to make the trips. There were rewards given to people who turned in runaway enslaved people, and anyone willing to help had to do it in secret. The people in secret places that were used to get slaves to freedom were called the Underground Railroad, and Harriet was called a conductor. Harriet often disguised herself as a man or an old person so she and her passengers wouldn't be caught. She gave babies medicine so they would sleep and not cry while they were hiding. If anyone wanted to give up and go back, she refused to let them go. An enslaved person who went back would be beaten or killed and forced to give away secret information that would endanger others. Every trip was a double risk for Harriet because she had to travel to the people who wanted to help and then travel back to the North with them. There were many angry slave owners who would have killed her for what she was doing, but she never gave up and never lost one passenger. Her most important trip was going back to her former home and getting her parents to come live with her. They lived the rest of their lives in Canada, where they knew freedom. Harriet was a small, uneducated Black woman who lived during a time when Black people could be bought and sold, and women of any race had very few rights. She had a lifelong, debilitating illness that would have kept most people from even leaving their home. She was always poor and had to work hard every day just to survive. But still, during Harriet's long life of 93 years, she proved that by applying willpower in the right direction with determination and an open heart, there are unlimited possibilities. Her determination to do what's right and to help others was an inspiration to enslaved people and those who were free, to women and men, to those in the North and South, to people of every race and color and gender, and to generations who came after her. Isn't that such an amazing story? And the neatest part about it is that it's true. That really happened. Harriet Tubman was a real person who helped save all of those enslaved people. So I have a couple questions for you. Do you know anything about enslaved people getting their freedom? Have you learned about that in school? Have you ever tried to walk through the woods at night without a flashlight? How do you think it felt to Harriet and the enslaved people to travel in the dark while people were hunting them? That would feel so scary. They had to have been so brave. Do you know anyone whose character traits like Harriet Tubman? How are they like her? Maybe they're brave. Maybe they help other people. Maybe they stand up for what's right. Could you be like that? Have you ever stood up against someone who is being cruel to another person, an animal? Were you scared? So Harriet Tubman is a wonderful example of a person who fought for what she believed in and saved many people because of that. So I want us to think about different ways that we can do that this week. Okay? So talk to the adults around you and your friends and your teachers and all the people around you to try and see different ways that you can help people. Okay, friends, we hope to see you soon and we hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.